Well, today I'm going to be working on the framework, making the frame for the lattice panels that are going to be going into place on the bottom of the porch. I've decided instead of fastening the lattice right there in place, I want removable panels so that I can store stuff up underneath. So I bought some 2x3s. Now, I really wanted to use pressure treated wood, but the cost is way too much. It's like almost $4 or more for 1 8-foot piece, and the budget just doesn't allow that. I wanted to use pressure treated down below because it's going to be touching the ground, so I'm going to rig up something to keep it off the ground, and it's really a framework to mount this lattice here. This piece of lattice here that I have standing up against the back deck here, you really can't mount this stuff, you know, and expect to use it as a removable panel, because first of all, it's only 24 inches. It takes two pieces to be seamed together so that I can mount it on the bottom of the porch. So instead, I'm going to make a framework out of the 2x3s, paint that white first, and then mount the lattice to the framework, and then the whole panels can be lifted into place. There'll be 3 of them. I bought 7 of these. One is a spare because there's going to be a top, bottom, and sides, and then there'll be one coming down the middle to join where I join the 2 pieces of the lattice together, and then I use those joining plates. Well, over here there's going to be lattice, but it's going to be permanently mounted, so I got a pressure treated 1x4 that I got on the bargain bin, but they no longer have them. They're $5 a piece for the 8-foot sections. So this will be fine for here. We're going to take a 2x4, and it's not pressure treated, but it's going to be under the porch now, so the water will not go on it anyhow. And we're going to mount it like this, and then on the back side right here will be a board coming out like this, so it'll give me a nailer. I already took the measurements. It'll give me a nailer or a screw plate, a place to screw the lattice in going this way, because this is set in 1.5 inches from the edge of this, so we need to build this piece up here with a piece of stock. So there'll be a panel here, and there'll be a panel here, and then an end panel over here. Now I've already taken the measurements, so there's going to be 3 panels, one on the end as I just got through telling you, one right here, and one right here. I got my assistant down here. He's going to make sure that I do a good job. If I don't do a good job, he's going to report me to the Old Goat Federation, and that's a federation that keeps all old goats like myself in line and make sure that they don't fart around too much. I'm pretty great at doing that. Now, as I had mentioned in the last video that I put up here, when I'm making things, I'm not able to get in here to photograph them all the time. I can only do it as I complete one part of it and show you, because otherwise I can't do 2 things at once. Besides that, I don't want the camera getting damaged. But I might just set this up on a tripod and let you watch a little bit of it. But you know, all that's time consuming, and you know, I have to work when the weather gets good. And a lot of times the weather may be sunny like this, but it could be humid, and I can't even get my breath when it's too humid. So I like the cooler weather. I don't like the real cold weather. Today is perfect day with a very light breeze, and I can work in it. So, well, I think I better get going. This project is never going to get even off the ground. Alright, I made a frame, as you can see, a permanent frame, because these lattice panels are not going to be taken out. So this will give me an area to screw into, and these are flush out, so there'll be no problem with that. This piece here is pressure treated. It's my last piece I had. Of course, this one's pressure treated because you're going to be getting water in. This is not. This is regular pine, but I'm going to paint all this white So the lattice will go sitting in here, you know, up through here and here. The posts are going to be painted white so you don't see redwood through it. But only the face of the post will be painted white. I'm not going to go all the way around. I'm not going to be painting white in there or anything else. So that when the lattice goes up here, you're not seeing the redwood background. Alright, I've got the pieces cut out according to my rough sketch here. The two panels that I'm going to be making up for the 8-foot section of the deck. It's going to be two separate panels, 42 1/4 inches wide by 28 inches high. The piece on the very end is a little narrower, but still 28 inches high, so that'll be made up after. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these two pieces together, and then I got to put a centerpiece on the frame in the middle to support the center lattice, which is this piece right here. That's these pieces here I showed you before that the lattice joins together. Right, what I'm doing here is making 5-inch squares of this 3/8 plywood. I'm just going to be cutting them out, and they're going to be put on the corners here, and they will be cut on a diagonal like this, and they'll be placed in the corners kind of as a support instead of going out and buying mending plates. In addition to that, we'll nail on the ends. And these I don't know what the heck you'd call them, gussets, I guess, I don't know. But anyways, these plates will be one on each corner, and that will be the inside, opposite side of where the lattice is going to be. In other words, I mount them here, the lattices are going to be on the other side of the 2x3s, and the whole thing will get painted white. So this will be about 1.5 inches to 2 inches off the ground. The lattice will be touching the ground, but the 2x3 and the bottom will not be touching the ground. Alright, I got these things cut up 5-inch square. Instead of cutting them down the middle, 45 them, it's going to take a lot of material out of them. I'm just going to use this as a template. I'm going to mark from here to here so that this point will not be like this, you know. So it won't be cut down like this, because I want to get the benefit of this entire plywood to support this. So do a measurement on that. I'll cut that and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, they're cut on a 45, but instead of cutting down the middle like I was going to do, they're just cut so that they look like this. See? So these will get nailed on here with galvanized nails, of course. That's all I ever use on the outside projects. And when that's on, and the frame is, this will kind of hold things together too, and then I'll nail on the ends here. One nail on each end should be sufficient. So there'll be 4 of these. After I make, you know, I got to cut the rest like this. There'll be 4 of these on each panel. Okay, this is just one corner, but this gives you an idea. And then I'll nail this, as I said. So this will hold everything together. So I got to do the rest of it here. All the miters are 45, so she should fit. Hope so. Well, I got one panel made. Had a heck of a time getting these angles right. They were 45s, but they didn't square out too well, and I finally got it to square. I was careful. I started nailing these all the way in, and I couldn't adjust the thing because it was like racked. The angles sometimes, the miters don't always mean that you square. I don't know, but anyways, it's pretty good now. I put a square on it. Alright, It's just laying in there now, and it'll be brought up so it hits this, be flush with this, and the lattice will hang over to here, and this will be painted white so it doesn't bleed show through the redwood. And same here, the lattice will come over about at the halfway point of the center post. The lattice for this one will overhang halfway on the center post, and the seams for the two lattices, which are 24 inches wide, will end right here with that plastic molding I had showed you before. Well, I got the 3 frames made up, leaning against the back deck here. This is the end panel here, and the left and the right, and they're just like I had to trim them a little bit, so that's why there's a little difference in the size here and the width, not the height but the width. So they're marked accordingly. So the lattice will get put this way. The union for the 2 pieces of lattice will be right here, and they'll, as I said, the lattice will overhang the 4x4 post on that deck, so that it'll blend all in, and the post will be painted white. Now I'm pretty tired. My back is bothering me, so I'm going to have to knock off for today. Got plenty of daylight, but it's 3:30 in the afternoon right now, and I'm going to paint tomorrow. I ain't going to do any more today. So a lot of people think that I got a lot of energy and this and that, and I don't. I got spurts of energy. I can do a little bit, and then I get pooped out. Usually my back bothers me, or sometimes I just run out of gas, or run out of steam, so to speak. We'll continue on this tomorrow. Hello there. Today is another day. Alright, we're starting on, we were going to have removable panels here, here, and at the end. But we made some changes. See, a lot of times we make changes on these projects that from the original design. So what I did is I permanently mounted this frame in here, and the lattice will go over the top of it after this is painted white. This will get painted white, this will get painted white, these posts here will get painted white. This panel here that you see right here is going to still be removable, because I can get in there and I can get stuff in storage from this end. And then the end one down there will be removable. So there's only going to be 2 removable panels here. And over here, of course, there'll be lattice put in here. This has got to get painted yet. So I'm in the process of making the cleat so that this can be fit in there and flush with this. And then I'll be doing the same at the end over there. When those cleats are in, then I'll paint all this white. What I'm doing here is I'm putting in the inside cleat, and it's off the ground because it's only to hold this panel from falling in, and it'll also allow me to secure it. Now, before I put the second nail in, this up and see if that flushes out properly. Okay, see, she's out. She'll sit up there like that and she'll be flushed out. Okay. Temporarily here to make sure it's The reason we have to figure this because of these pieces that I put on the corner here. I didn't allow for that, so I had to take this piece off. You didn't see that on video though. I went in 1.5 inches from here and marked it. You can see where the mark was. And this was sticking out too far because they didn't allow for this 3/8 plywood here. But that's the way my life goes. Okay, so we look like we're just about right. Okay. Right, so female on it. We're using 16 nails. 20s are too big. 16s have to be driven in a little bit more to make sure they can catch. Alright, so that is 1.5 inches. Alright, and we allowed the rest of the thickness right here. So there's these 4 little, what I call gusset pieces on the corner, the supports. Okay. Now, I got to put a piece over here, and I want to show you how we're going to hold this panel into place here. Okay, what I did is I went out and got 1/4 inch, 3-inch long galvanized carriage bolts and the nuts and the washer to go with them. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to drill a hole on the top of this cleat right here. Damn those motorcycles, every time you want to carry on a commentary, you got this racket in the background going on. Okay. What's going to happen is, there's going to be a hole drilled here. Okay. This is going to be mounted like this. You can see that on the camera, zoomed in. I'm going to be drilling a hole towards the top, probably about 2 inches down from the top. In the center, the bolt will be coming out like this. 3 inches, it'll be 1.5 inches coming out. Then there'll be a hole on the 2 top corners. The cleat that's going over here is going to be made the same way. It's going to have a bolt out. So when you put this thing in place, I'll have a 1/4 inch hole drilled in it. Maybe I'll drill a 3/8 so I can fit it in easier. Basically, that takes it and allows me to literally hang it in there. And I'm putting in the putting in the place for the bolts to go through. Those bolts I just showed you. Doing here. That's going to be the hanger for, I'm going to put a washer on that. It's going to be the hanger for the panel. Nothing fancy, just the way to support this thing. It can be removed easily. one. Can't see it. And when I bring this back up, I'll align the holes, and I'm going to drill a hole in here, but I'll drill it a little bit larger. Not much, probably 3/8 of an inch instead of a quarter. And matter of fact, we'll have to countersink the hole that I make in here on the back side to allow for the nut that I'm putting on here, because otherwise I would have had to countersink them in here, and it's easier to work on that piece there. Okay, what I'm going to do here is we're making we're doing a 1/2 inch to allow for this nut here to clear. We're only going in just a little bit here. This is the indentation right here. To go easy because we're very close to the nail here. Okay. Now we're putting in, doing the 3/8. 3/8 hole. Right through there. Don't need to go all the way through, because 2 inches here, and it's only sticking out 1.5 inches, so we don't really need to go all the way through with this. Now we do the same to this one. The same to this one, but we gotta be careful of the nails here. First a 1/2 inch. Just a little bit, just to clear the nut, that's all. Seem to be wobbly for some reason. Just the way they're made. Alright, now we're going to try it in the things here and see how it fits. Perfect. See, all they do is they just go slide on them things, that's all. The lattice will be on here and it'll flush out. The bottom don't need anything to hold it, because the lattice will be overhanging it, and then I can put a screw in the top and the bottom of the lattice, or I may not even do that. I may just put one here and one here. The lattice overhangs, as I said, and that'll hold it. When I need to remove it, just take a screw out of here, out of the lattice, take a screw out of here, out of the lattice, reach in, grab the lattice, and pull this right out. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to put these cleats on that end over there. I got to make those up now. So, we'll join you shortly. Okay. All the pieces are made up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these in place, and then after it dries, then I'll take it out and I'll paint the sides and the edges. This is the end piece, and what I did a little different here is I put the bolts further down. I probably should have done it on that other one, but like I say, this is a project, there's changes as I go along, so that I don't have to deal with putting countersinks into the plywood, because this is already separate by 3/8 of an inch away from the nut, so it'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is we're going to paint these in place, and then when it's dry enough I'll pull it off and I'll paint the top and the sides and in here. So that's what we'll do. So basically that'll be like the first coat, and that's all. Simple as that. It just stays right in there. And the lattice, I can put a screw here and a screw here to hold it in, but it depends on what I'm storing under there. If I'm going to be going in and out all the time, this is the entrance I'll be using, and in which case I may just have this set like this, and you know, can just be pulled right out. Just grab it, pull it right out. Okay, so I'm going to clean up my tools now, and I'm going to go get the paint. Alright, there's one coat on here. These are just setting in place right now. When this dries, I pull them off. I'll paint the inside, paint the outside again with the second coat. The same with the post. There's only one coat of paint on the post. Only one coat here. They will get a second coat. Okay, painting the inside. Now you may wonder why I'm painting the inside white, because you're not going to really see it anyways. But that's just to protect the bare wood so it doesn't soak up moisture. Being that these 2x3s are not pressure treated. This is the fixed panel right here that I was telling you about. And the other two I've taken off, and they're on the bench over there being, they've been painted, and they're drying right now. And I'm just painting on the inside here just to keep the wood from soaking up any water or anything, or any moisture. And then I'm going to put the things up once they're dry over there. What I did here is I painted the back sides. You can see where the plywood pieces are facing upward. I painted the back side. So now they both have one coat of paint on them. So what I'm going to do now is to paint the fronts the second coat. The front part, I want to make very sure that it has two coats on it. That's going to be exposed to the weather to some extent. And also I want two coats on the lower part. Okay, good. Well, I'll paint the top part of this now. Starting to get these little things that come off the trees here. I get into everything. We always want to make sure we got lots of paint on these plywood pieces here, because you don't want that coming apart. Alright, there's the second coat on the face of these things now. Once these dry, I got the other one on the other bench over there. Once these dry, then I can go proceed to put the lattice on them. Alright. On the side of the stairs, we're going to start putting the lattice in. But we're not going to cut the lattice because it will get cut wrong. Always. So we are going to make a template out of cardboard. Once we had to sacrifice one of these Home Depot cardboard boxes here because we didn't have the right size cardboard. And I didn't want to cut up my cardboard that I kneel down on for painting and other things. So what we're going to do is we already took the measurements. See if I can cut this now. Better off to cut cardboard. If you screw up on the cardboard, well, not a big a deal. But it's a bigger deal, a bigger deal if we cut the lattice wrong. And with me and angles, I'm always cutting something wrong. Okay. So what we do here is we take this around to the front, and we place it up under the stairs, and if it fits good, we'll lay this down on the lattice and we'll cut the lattice. Okay, well, this is why we use cardboard, because it screws up every single damn time. What I had done is I had measured from here to the ground. It was 29 inches. Okay. But I was supposed to measure from up here to the ground. Alright, this is cardboard. We didn't screw up a piece of lattice. So, this is what we're going to do. We are going to make up the angles we need. Let me see now, that's not going to give me enough room. So, we do like we do when we're doing vinyl flooring. Cut out here. And cut out there. Alright. Now, I'm going to tape this together. This will be one big template. One big template. All right, now this will be the angle we need up on the top. Again, one big template. We get this down, we lay it on top of the lattice, and we mark it out. Alright. It'd be much better if I had brand new lattice, because this is used lattice that I got. But very hard to get clean. Perfectly clean and white. We'll do the best we can. Now, this is the template. We're going to do this end, because the lattice is going to be mounted like this. So we're going to take our straight edge, because when I cut this cardboard it wasn't perfectly flush to the top of the stairs, which is close enough. Alright, so this is the side of the rail post. It goes right to the edge of the rail post. Okay. And we're going to cut here. We're going to cut here. And we're going to cut here. Okay, now we'll just take and with the straight edge here. Alright, so that's it. Now we got the bottom part. Bottom part, we don't want to forget that. And we got that here. That here. Now we're going to go down around here and get the bottom part. Alright, so that's going to be the first piece of lattice that we're going to be putting in there. Next step, we're going to cut this off. Oh, I think we'll use our little skill saw here. Okay. Alright, this is my first attempt at cutting lattice with a skill saw. I've never worked with lattice before. So, I both learned something on this one. First of all, I got to cut here, that little notch that's in the top end corner, high end corner there, and then cut here. So if I screw up at all, I'd rather screw up in this area. I don't have a fine tooth blade in here. This is just my usual rough tooth blade that came with the saw. But we're going to find out. Oh yeah, cuts beautiful, very easily. And cut here. Yep, nice, cuts nice. Okay, I just clamped the lattice down so that I can work with it a little bit here. Now we'll do the same with this and everything else. So we'll come back on this video after I get these lattice panels into place. Alright. Well, we're getting the lattice in here. They say to use a 1/4 inch hole for the lattice so it'll expand, but I used the next size down. I don't recall what the size was, because I'm using these sheetrock screws here, 1 inch galvanized sheetrock screws in here. And now, on this one here I'm going to have to use a longer than 1 inch. Alright, I've got them. I just got to go out and get one. So, right now, one inch is fine for here, but when you're using the mending strips here, you need a longer screw. But as I started to say, And that's what the tightness screws down all the way. But you know what? You gotta have it, otherwise the damn thing will flop all over. So what I'll do is I sock them down and just back them off a half a turn. That's all. We'll get a longer screw here, and we'll put a couple in here. Okay. Well, as I'm going along here, the lattice is so damn dirty, I should never have gotten used lattice. I'm going to probably have to paint this white, even though it's plastic and you're not supposed to have to paint it, but it looks like crap, you know. It's going to have to be painted after I'm done. Not the new mending union strips or whatever you call them, but the lattice itself, and while I'm at it I'll touch up the nail heads, which are galvanized but they're showing through. Same way with over there. It needs to be painted white, similar to this here. So, all right, this is the last piece of lattice I'm putting in here, and I'm going to have to paint this lattice. I can't clean it anymore. It's just plain dirty. You know, it looks like hell. So I'm going to paint the lattice. It would have been better off if I just got wood lattice and painted it myself, but anyhow, that's right. All right, this whole door fits on tight now because the paint is a little sticky. This whole thing will just come right out. I'll demonstrate. Like this. And then I can store things. Now you see your lattice overhangs here, and I purposely did that. Overhangs to the end. There's no way I can get them perfectly crisscrossed from one to the other. I tried, and I have to keep cutting lattice and everything else. And well, I've never worked with the stuff before, and I can't say I really enjoy all that much working with it. But that's it. Yeah. All right. As you can see, it looks a lot better now, being painted. And blends up nice and bright, just like the plastic strips here, the union strips. Alright, now you can see the difference here compared to here. So, I'll have to say that that looks a lot better. Yeah, so what we're going to do is I'll finish painting this. Okay, we're finished with this. Take a look over here. Now, see how nice and bright that is now? And it looks a lot better with the with it painted white, because apparently the plastic yellowed and it was dirty and I couldn't clean it up. So now it looks bright now. So that's it. It's the best I can do. I hope you enjoyed this little project. Actually, it was a big project. The overall. Thank you for watching, and maybe we'll have another project coming down the road sometime soon. I don't know. Good day.